COP26. In November, the UK, together with Italy, will host an event in Glasgow that many believe to be the world's best last chance to get runaway climate change under control. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host and saviour of life on Earth as we know it, the celebrated buffoon, documented climate change denier and British Prime Minister, Mr. Boris Johnson. Blah, blah, blah. Apparently, Boris Johnson has now changed his mind about climate change and does now believe that man-made climate catastrophe is real, having said as recently as 2015 that concerns about global warming causing rising temperatures are a primitive fear, and that fear, as far as I understand the science, is equally without foundation. And then he goes on to say, hilariously, there may be all kinds of reasons why I was sweating at ping pong, but they don't include global warming. So, do we believe that Boris Johnson finally believes? Or are we putting Pinocchio in charge of the summit that is the world's best last chance to get runaway climate change under control? The man who gave us this, with this explanation.
Let's deal with your arguments. One of them is on the side of this bus. We send 350 million to Europe. We don't, and you know we don't. No, we don't. You know we don't.
No,
Admit that that figure is grotesquely misleading at best.
I won't. Am
I the only person who remembers this barefaced utter bollocks? So today I'm going to delve into a recent speech by Pinocchio, well, Boris Johnson, made to the United Nations in his typically colourful language, where he cleverly references both Kermit the Frog and Sophocles in the same sentence. And you can make up your own mind whether the fairy tale of COP26, The Adventures of Pinocchio, is in good hands or not. Then after that, my new assistant Doris, there you are, will read out this week's Why Aren't People Angry About This Postbag. So do stick around for that one. Anyway, let's get on with it. Blah, blah, blah. Thank you, Greta. Anyway, Boris Johnson starts his speech by offering us an analogy that likens humanity at this moment in time to a naughty 16-year-old that has found the key to the drinks cabinet and the car apparently, although he doesn't mention sex or procreation, which is surprising since he apparently has several children from several different women, and procreation surely does have a place in the climate debate. And I'm not sure exactly when he started on that particular journey. Was it when he was 16, or was it just pigs' heads had eaten at that stage?
Then we're now sweet 16. We've come to that fateful age when we know roughly how to drive, and we know how to unlock the drinks cabinet.
And this next bit truly sounds like it's from the heart, as I'm really not sure Boris Johnson has ever properly grown up and still seems to live in some sort of cuckoo land.
The world was made for our gratification and pleasure, and we combine this narcissism with an assumption of our own immortality. We believe that someone else will clear up the mess.
This last line reminds me very much of the quote from Robert Swan: "The greatest threat to our planet is the belief that someone else will save it."
It's time for humanity to grow up. It's time for us to listen to the warnings of the scientists, and if you look at COVID...
He then goes on to say we should listen to the scientists, but it appears not to actually do anything, with a rallying cry that capitalism will save us. This is a very complex subject that I have deliberately stayed away from in the past, but there are really some interesting videos on the subject, not least by George Monbiot, to which I'll put links in the description.
If everyone tries to pursue private luxury, there is simply not enough physical or ecological space in order to do it.
But in very simple terms, it is capitalism, it is corporate greed, it is consumerism and first world privilege that has got us into the mess we're in today. And I think it rather naive to believe that these same drivers will get us out.
And the tragedy is that because of our past inaction, there are further rises in temperatures that are already baked in.
But he goes on.
And my friends, baked is the word. If we keep on the current track, then the temperatures will go up by 2.7 degrees or more.
An acknowledgement that we should have done something decades ago when Boris Johnson was denying there was a problem at all. And he is correct about being baked in. This cake will keep baking even after we turn the oven off. Even if we stop producing any CO2 today, temperatures will continue to rise. So what we need to do as well is to pursue carbon capture solutions like planting more trees, not cutting them down like we are today.
And that we missed our cue. And they will ask themselves what kind of people we were to be so selfish and so short-sighted.
We have been missing our cue for decades, you floppy-head cockwomble. What we are talking about today, make no mistake, this is our last chance. This is our last cue.
And that means we need to pledge collectively to achieve carbon neutrality, net zero, by the middle of the century.
Net zero is not enough. Not by the middle of the century, not by 2040, not by 2030.
I'm not one of those environmentalists, by the way, who takes a moral pleasure in excoriating humanity for its excess. I don't see the green movement as a pretext for a wholesale assault on capitalism. Far from it.
Fuck me! Boris Johnson is an environmentalist now! Who knew?
Every day, green startups are producing new ideas, from feeding seaweed to cows to restrain their traditional signs of digestive approval.
Digestive approval! Oh, Boris, you have such a wonderful turn of phrase. Let's put you in charge of the country. Feeding seaweed or lemongrass to cows before we slaughter them aged 18 months for our few minutes of dining pleasure will not solve the problem. Whether you care about animal cruelty or not, the bottom line is that unless humanity can move towards a more plant-based diet, we are fucked.
And it's these technological breakthroughs that will cut the cost for consumers so that we have nothing to fear and everything to gain.
Let's reword that. It is these technological breakthroughs that will cut the cost for voters. This sounds at best like a populist speech that does not require the voters to change their habits at all.
And when Kermit the Frog sang, "It's not easy being green." You remember that one? I want you to know that he was wrong. He was wrong. It is easy. It's not only easy, it's lucrative, and it's right to be green. Although he was also unnecessarily rude to Miss Piggy, I thought, Kermit the Frog. But it is easy.
Kermit the fucking Frog, we are deep into Pinocchio territory with this one. If we're going to reverse the climate crisis, we are all going to need to make personal sacrifices. Every single one of us. Going green is not going to be easy.
The poet Sophocles is often quoted by me anyway, as saying that there are many terrifying things in the world, but none is more terrifying than mankind.
There is nothing more terrifying right now than believing populist governments' rhetoric that they can magically part the Red Sea and drive us to safety in our SUVs. The seas won't part for us. Sea levels are actually rising. And when forced climate migration hits North America and Europe in the same way that is already beginning to happen in places like India, Bangladesh, South America, Southern Africa, when we cross the seas, it won't be in our SUVs, it will be in inflatable boats. There is no silver bullet. There is no silver bullet. There is only the blue pill of up until now blissful ignorance, or the red pill of reality, which we will all soon be forced to swallow. If not our generation, the next generation. Take the red pill today whilst we still have time to act. So coming up next is the angry people's postbag, because some people are very angry indeed. Anyway, this week Doris reads out a message from Toadie, strange name, from Melbourne in Australia, who has some views on milking cows. So do stick around for that. But if you care about this stuff, and you really should, please do subscribe to my channel. It's completely free to do so. Let me have your feedback. Let me have your questions. I'd love to get your feedback and questions. And please do whip the like button and share this video with your friends. Doing all or any of these things really does help me spread the word and hopefully affect positive change.
And now it's time for Angry People's Postbag with some Doris.
So, back by popular demand, the Angry People's Postbag, where Doris is going to read out this week's post, which I believe is from Toadie in Melbourne in Australia, who has some profound views on why we are helping cows by milking them.
Hope everybody's all right.
That's not it, is it?
Well, that was only a matter of time, wasn't it? Before another accident was going to happen.
Okay.
Hopefully nothing too serious.
Could you just read out the message?
Cows do need to be milked. Calcium. If it weren't good, then why are there doctors saying all over the world, drink milk? Calves are taken off of cows. They can't consume all that rich milk. Get your facts straight.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Right. But if you'd like to see the video that inspired that particular message, you can see it here. And there's another video you might also like to see, which you should be able to see here on the Holocene, which is another interesting video I did a few weeks ago. So thank you for watching, and please do subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already.